Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Vice President, Systems Services Center of Competency for IBM, Mr. Barry Becker.
Good morning, everyone. I appreciate you joining, sharing 30 minutes of your day with us. Hopefully you can hear me well. I want to thank CA for the opportunity to give us a little bit of time to walk you through IBM's point of view on mainframe-as-a-service. I guess I should grab the clicker since I'm not going to do this mentally. So a little bit of what I want to go through today is, and in the discussion that Ashok just had, and even when I joined him on stage, for those of you who were fortunate enough to join us for the last 45 minutes, was to really help you understand how we're looking at the mainframe as a service and what we're listening to within the marketplace. I'd like to share not only that point of view, but the solutions that we're bringing to market, as well as the collaborations that we have going on with CA, that not only that we've announced here at CA World 2016, but that we continue to expand for the remainder of this year and going into 2017. So let me first start off with really the ecosystem within industry that we find ourselves engaging in. We all recognize that there's a very rapid pace of innovation. All of us, as we traveled here, booked our hotel reservations, our airline travel, we sent out emails, we coordinated meetings, a very digitally connected involvement that we have as consumers within industry. So this focus that businesses have to touch consumers in terms of ease of use, in terms of being very personal and targeted, empowering in terms of speed of access of information and the interconnectivity and interoperability of those systems of engagement and those systems of record, and the fact that, frankly, our consumers expect it to be always on. When you take that conversation and you look at the position that CIOs are in today within the enterprise, you understand that they really are expected to be innovative change agents. That path to this innovation, we believe, is what we call hybrid cloud. Now, when we define hybrid cloud, that really is the complete ecosystem that we recognize CIOs have to deal with. So that's your traditional IT landscape, which for decades have had significant investment in. There's the adoption of public cloud multi-tenant models, which I'll cover a little bit, and also the adoption of private cloud capabilities, all within this overall hybrid framework that CIOs are bringing forth, not only to their internal constituency, but also to their external clients to in fact empower the innovation that we just spoke about. I'd like to spend a moment now to give you a point of view on what we consider hybrid cloud. When you look at what IDC and the industry analysts are saying, nearly 80% of CIOs interviewed and spoken with have admitted that they recognize that an adoption and a move to hybrid cloud is a critical component of their overall innovation strategy, as well as the empowerment to the business and end users within the enterprise. If you further look at that number, 70% have already adopted some semblance of a hybrid cloud model. They're already using that to drive scalability and functionality, agility in the business, the adoption of DevOps, closing the gap of bringing the traditional landscape together with the new born on the cloud applications and experiences that are being extended within industry. It's something that we also are seeing in the conversations that I have with many of our clients within industry. A lot of them over the past many years have finally conceded the fact that they have to consider the cloud as a destination for workloads. Issues around security, issues around compliance, issues around availability. Many of those concerns have been addressed and continue to be addressed as that strategy is in fact folded in to the CIO's agenda as they work as a service enterprise to the rest of the business. So let's dig a little bit deeper into the visibility and control that you need for a hybrid cloud. In our point of view within IBM, to invoke this strategy is a concept that we considered enterprise IT as a service. And you'll hear this term a lot from us in IBM, as a service model. So most of us know about as a service when it comes to infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. But there's this new paradigm in this shift in industry that we're seeing that we call IT as a service. And what really governs that? And so let's dig into that for a moment. What really governs that when you talk about running a collaboration of traditional IT with cloud. So from a visibility perspective, the use of analytics, the use of insight into the user experience in the consumption, the functionality, the security, driving it from the ability to identify workloads that present themselves within the enterprise and understanding where exactly do I put that workload. That's very much a concept that nearly a year ago in an acquisition that we did with Graviton that we drove, in a concept that is becoming very pervasive in industry around brokerage services. How do I create a catalog of capabilities driven by SLAs, driven by SLOs that match business requirements to the destination within the IT landscape that's needed? Does it need to be within the traditional IT landscape? Does it need to be within a private cloud model? Does it need to be within a public cloud model? And what is my flexibility and agility to move within that? And then having the skills and the capabilities to manage that overall ecosystem. It's imperative with the dynamics that are changing in industry, the adoption of new offerings, new software, new hardware, new technology components. You heard Ashok mentioned in the session earlier today about the scrums that many of the players, including ourselves in industry, are doing to quickly respond to the very rapid innovation that's expected into the marketplace. So to have a plumbed out capability where IT can extend that entire landscape as a service to the enterprise to meet the business demands is absolutely critical and something we're very much in tune with and have collaborated with the likes of CA and others in the industry to bring those best-of-breed solutions to the market. So let's talk a little bit about the mainframe. So I spoke about the need to drive the mainframe into this new, looks like I've lost a slide up here. All right, we're back. If they'd been running on the mainframe, we would have been good. No, in all seriousness. So when you talk about this IT as a service, you now have to understand in the context of mainframe, can mainframe really be part of that hybrid cloud model? How can I in fact transition from the bottom left-hand corner, right, which is this traditional on-premise model, up into a multi-tenant public model? Now, you start using terms like multi-tenant, you start using terms like cloud when it comes to the mainframe, and those of you who have been part of the mainframe ecosystem for decades, you get a little suspect, you get a little cautious, and need to really understand how do we advance that overall agenda. Well, what we've done in IBM is we've understood that this is a journey. And if you look at what I'll define as a continuum of maturity in the slide behind me, you'll see that we've aligned our portfolio and services to map the needs that you have at this current time, but have the ability to move you along this continuum. So if that's a matter of us providing remote managed services capability for existing mainframe on your premise, IBM has that best-of-breed capability. Not only do we have that best-of-breed capability, we recognize you're under extreme pressure to refresh and frankly maintain those skills in industry. The reality is there's not a lot of youth that is coming out of the university saying, I want to go be a mainframe engineer within an enterprise in a team of 1 or 2 folks. So we've continued to incubate out of the university ecosystems to continue to scale that up, not only with our hardware and software colleagues within IBM, but also to continue to expand that within services as well, and then extend that breadth of skill and capability with you as the modernization of the platform continues to grow. You talk about an on-premise cloud. Some of our clients say, look, I understand I can move to a multi-tenant model. I understand I can take advantage of the mainframe virtualization capabilities, the agility of consumption, but I still feel more comfortable that if I run it as a cloud inside my own organization. And we're seeing this with a lot of our large financial clients that we're working with, as well as, once again, a movement along this continuum. And then the last one, and the fastest growing one that we're seeing occur in industry right now, is the concept of a public multi-tenant cloud organization. And what that effectively means is driving what we affectionately call a Z-Cloud platform. That's effectively a multi-tenant cloud platform where we have the ability to segment from an LPAR position, storage, server, tape, and be able to extend it in a consumption-based model with the ability to scale up and scale down to match the business needs that you have within the enterprise. And I show that a little bit on the following slide here. It does bring the capex to opex conversation to the mainframe, a conversation that has existed in the distributed space for many, many years, now able to move to the mainframe conversation as well. The scalability that it affords. We're having a lot of conversations that started happening mid-year with our clients that run within this ecosystem that, look, the holidays are approaching. I need to be able to burst my compute, my storage capability within the mainframe. And that's the flexibility that we have with the mainframe cloud as well. Lower operational costs. I mentioned the resources and the skills and the fact that we're constantly bringing the best of breed of those capabilities, not only on what our clients are running within the cloud, but also what we're doing with the underlying hardware and software that we continue to build and modernize the Z-Cloud platform with. So when you look at the architecture that we embrace, it's actually very complex under the covers, but very simple to describe. We effectively are taking our latest and greatest Z technologies. In fact, I'd encourage you at the end here to go to our booth and a very impressive Z13 that we have running in there. It's an impressive piece of infrastructure and the power that it drives. But our ability to take that type of a platform and segment it in a highly secure, highly scalable capability by carving up client-driven LPAR configurations, ensuring that we've got absolutely secure and complete segmented access, compute, and storage capabilities that gives you that flexibility of growth as we meet the business needs that you have within the hybrid cloud model that you're adopting within your overall enterprise. So let me expand a little bit further. I only got a couple of minutes on the stage with Ashok earlier, but let me expand a little bit further on the collaboration that IBM and CA are doing. So I've described to you mainframe-as-a-service, what we affectionately inside of IBM call our Z-Cloud platform as a service. And what we recognize, and as we're listening to those of you who run a lot of CA's solutions, or who run within our mainframe, is that we need to help you extend areas of that you find that you're needing address within your business. Those are in areas of compliance. Those are in areas of DevOps and bringing the operational conversation within the development activities within the business. It's the ability to handle mission critical solutions and a very agile methodology. It's the ability to connect distributed open system front ends with mainframe back ends, which we in industry are leading with in our blockchain capabilities. You'll hear more from one of my colleagues tomorrow. But what we recognized as we worked very closely with CA is there were capabilities in their software portfolio that really strengthened what our mainframe as a service capability was within the marketplace. And so myself, and my teams and Ashok's teams within CA came together and really aligned that portfolio and said, where can we ensure that we're addressing those individual components? And you'll see where our focus is initially. This is really in its infancy, and we're extremely excited about what we think CA and IBM are going to be able to do together. So the topic of security and compliance, and I'll hit on that briefly in the next slide, but this content of data content discovery. And what does that mean to take and extend not what IBM already has in the infrastructure in the software that we have from a security position, and now extending that within the data that resides within that system. You talk about software rationalization. Look, IBM, we do a lot of software rationalization for our clients all the time. CA does as well. And we've recognized that when you take the software that is running within the mainframe, both CA and IBM centric, we have a value proposition out to you, out to our clients, out to the industry that is really focused on driving not only an optimization of that software, but the cost and the consumption that it has as well. So this is an area we also looked that we could surround our zCloud platform with to bring additional value. And then finally, the concept of DevOps. DevOps is not just a distributed conversation. We have a lot of conversations with our clients that are running applications within the mainframe and recognize we've got to modernize the thinking and the agility that is expected by those business owners. The ability to bring, as I mentioned earlier, that operational conversation earlier into the development life cycle so that by the time you're pushing to production, your business users understand that the mainframe, much like the distributed environment has been for a long time, can have the same level of agility, of scalability within the DevOps conversation. So I'm going to dig into one specific area where we're really collaborating with CA and we're really excited about the joint value proposition that we're bringing to the marketplace. So I think all of us here are very attuned to data privacy, whether that's HIPAA driven from a PHI perspective, whether that's credit card transactions and information, or whether that's just consumer profiles and critical data that many of you are hosting within your mainframe environments. I will tell you personally, I've been a victim of theft of personal information. And so I know as a consumer, I'm very, very attuned to making sure that the banks, the businesses that I choose to deal with as a consumer truly are securing my information. And from a data content and discovery perspective, as we were having workshops and technical discussions with CA, we recognize that our clients who are running workloads within our cloud, within the mainframe, were really feeling that they needed to invest further within this area. That ability to not only find the information that's residing within the applications, that's residing within the data stores within the mainframe, but also the ability to classify it and then ultimately protect it. So we've come together with CA, we've trained our sellers and IBM, our solutioners, how to add that within the mainframe-as-a-service conversation so that you understand our ability to extend that overall system as a destination within the hybrid cloud conversation that you'll be able to take advantage of. So when you talk about mainframe as a service, we really expand all industries. Not only do we expand all industries, but we expand globally. We have the largest global footprint of any mainframe cloud in industry by leaps and bounds. Now, our initial collaboration with CA is in North America, and the intent really there is to begin to build a value proposition and a collaboration that we're going to look to export to Europe, to Asia Pacific, to Latin America, to Japan and beyond. And we're already starting to have some of those conversations. We're having discussions about those levels of enablement. But you can see from a sample set of the types of clients that have taken advantage of our zCloud solution, that they really span all gamuts of industry, whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're in financial services or insurance, whether you're in the travel and distribution industry, or whether you're in something like a world's leading education company, which provide very interesting use cases about how the mainframe is still very much a conversation within the business and a critical component. And every one of these examples up there, the reason clients came to us and said, look, IBM, we want to embrace and understand how we can move from that capex to an opex model, so that we can understand that we can't keep trying to find skills in industry, and we can go to a world-class leader that has the skills, has the capabilities, is in tune not only with what's happening in industry, but frankly is feeding that back into the development life cycle of our hardware and of our software capabilities. Those conversations naturally extend themselves to the ROIs to make that decision. If I'm going to move my workload into the cloud, if I'm going to have IBM provide me those skills, if I need to be able to handle the agility, the security, and those capabilities, we have a very, very keen and very well orchestrated return on investment model that we can walk you through and help you develop that business case that you can take up not only to the business owners within the enterprise, but also up into the C-suite to help you understand why this is a valuable option and a destination as part of your overall business strategy. So, what should you take away from the discussion and what I'm covering today? So one of the key things that I want you to understand is, and I can tell you this with a lot of passion as someone who's been in the managed services business and the services business for nearly 25 years, is the mainframe is now at the front of mind within the IT conversation. It is not the siloed, back of the room, dusty system that only those of us who have gray in the temples care about. It's definitely a relevant and a critical component of the business and is being recognized as a highly secure, highly scalable destination for those workloads. Our ability to take the need that you have with the mainframe and bring it into an as-a-service model is something that I would ask you to come talk to us about so that we can assess, evaluate, and determine that roadmap to move you along that continuum that I shared with you. Second, let's help you understand the workloads that you have running in the mainframe, right? What are those components? What are those profiles? What are the catalog of services you have to have in your hybrid cloud as you drive to an IT as a service model that make the mainframe part of that catalog and that workload decision making? And then finally, what's the migration strategy? You've assessed it, you've evaluated those workloads. We have the ability and the expertise. We've done it with an incredible number of your peers in industry of what it takes to actually move you to a mainframe as a service model. And whether that's anywhere along that continuum. Is it just needing the remote managed services capabilities to start? Is it the need to move to a private cloud model? Or is it ideally to move to a very agile, highly scalable, multi-tenant public cloud model that many of your peers in industry not only have taken advantage of, but continue to engage with us on as one of our fastest growing services solutions within my entire business segment. So with that being said, I'd like to invite each and every one of you over to the IBM booth at the conclusion of my presentation here in a moment. We've got some fantastic subject matter experts over there that are happy to talk to you about hybrid cloud, IT as a service, our mainframe as a service capabilities, our brokerage capabilities. And what I'd really encourage you to do as you walk into our booth is recognize you're not going to have a bunch of individual conversations. There's a theme. There's a point of view that we in IBM really recognize that you're challenged by, and so the presentation of our capabilities to you are really tuned into that. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Once again, I'd like to thank CA for inviting us to be a diamond sponsor here at CA World 2016. And I look forward to each and every one of you coming over to the booth and engaging us in a conversation of how we can help you within your business decisions. Thank you very much.